Hey everybody, it's Allison again, stlprostretch.com. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Today's video is going to be on the calves and specifically the lateral calf where the peroneals are, Peroneus, longus, and brevis, and they lie right along the edge of the calf. And kind of in some of this, the lateral line also includes the back of the side of the calf. So if you're a cyclist or runner or dancer or whatever, even yoga person, you may end up having tightness in here. Often it will end up with tightness in your piriformis, your external rotators will get tight, or your IT band. They all kind of like are on that same lateral line. And then once you get up into the hip, it crosses over to the other side of the back. Anyway, I just always have had a lot of tightness there, and Kihara, the resistance stretching, really has helped me understand why, and part of it is the way I move. I toe out, so that doesn't help anything. Obviously, that lateral line is going to get taxed a lot more. So if you're moving in a pattern where you're external rotating out and you're pushing out like that, obviously you're going to get all of these muscles on the outside of the leg, the lateral line, tighter, versus if you're moving in a way that you're going inner heel is pulling through. So if you think about internally rotating your leg and then pulling through with the inner heel, then you're probably gonna activate more of the inside of the calf and that medial hamstring and central hamstring. So certain things to think about when you're moving that you can do, even when you're cycling. It's really hard to think about that, but if you think about kind of like pulling up with your inner heel as you're doing that rotation, that can help you a little bit. You've got to excuse my voice. I'm a little bit under the weather, so I'm making videos. Anyway, so what do we do? The first thing I usually do is just get my foam roller out to relieve some of the tension, because to be honest, this tension here along this lateral line could be causing your piriformis pain. Whatever is tight along this line could be causing tension somewhere other than where it's tight. Anyway, we're going to take your foam roller and just externally rotate your leg and place the calf on it to the outside and just kind of roll it up and down. And that's going to get into the peroneals very well. I mean, it feels great to me. It might not feel as great to you. So this is one of those situations where, I always say if it hurts, stop doing it. Well, obviously, if you're doing a little self-massage and self-release, you're going to have a little pain. So it may be a little uncomfortable pain, but hopefully it's not going to cause any damage, any bruising or anything. We don't want to go that far. I have seen people actually bruise themselves with these foam rollers, so take it easy. And then the other thing that you can do is, this is also very useful. This is an MA roller. It's MA roller. It's I think a massage tool. But it's really useful for getting into the calves. So if you want to, put your calf on it and just get these little tiny balls. You can see these little balls right on the edge of the calf. This is one tool that I found that works really well for calves, and just kind of get up there. And even if you have plantar fasciitis, sometimes that area right in the center, right behind the knee, getting that little ball back there, it can be very helpful as well. So you can roll up and down. Also, getting into this lateral line, and the peroneals go all the way around the back of the ankle and then underneath the foot. So you may be experiencing some tension in the arch somewhere, and that would be another thing to address for sure. One thing I use for that is Yamuna ball. They're fairly expensive. You can get them probably on Amazon or just online. Yamuna, Yamuna, and I think they're like $50 or something for a couple of them. Well worth it, I will say. I used to, whenever I was feeling like that was a problem, I would get up in the morning and I would put my foot on it, just kind of move it around. You can get to the outside, inside, all different angles. These things come with a video, so you can learn how to use it. But generally, I'd say just stepping on it for like a minute or two, and I felt a lot better. Now, if you don't have one of those, you can use the edge of a step or a lacrosse ball. You're going to want to get right into, I think, for me, especially if you've got plantar fasciitis problems, that part of the arch right in front of the calcaneus, or right in front of the heel bone, is where you want to push. And you're going to get in there and just going to put pressure on it. You can stand to do this, but you could also just roll the entire arch, and that should help as well. I usually use the edge of a step. I'm standing on it, and I'll just put my right in front of my calcaneus and just push on it. But kind of play around, because you're going to find different pockets of tightness here and there. You'd be surprised at how much tension you carry in the bottom of your foot, believe me. This is a lacrosse ball. You could use a yoga tune-up ball. They come in packs of 2. They're a little bit softer. Also, another thing that I have found very useful, I know I'm really getting into gadgets today, but this thing, I've done training with Nick Barlotta, the dynamic contraction technique. I think you can find him online. Just look up DCT Proflex, and it should pop up. This is a calf stretching boot, and it's got a nifty little strap on it, so you can use it on yourself. I use it for clients, but you can use it on yourself. And how you would do that to stretch the peroneals is just put your foot in here and then strap yourself in. And we're going to use it kind of like the medial or the lateral hamstring stretch. So if we've done the straight leg before, where I take this thing across the body like that at an angle. Well, I'm going to actually sickle my foot. So I'm going to let my arch pull in toward the groin. This is very similar to what we do with Supta Padangustasana in yoga, where you're doing hand to foot. And usually when you take the leg across the body a little bit, which really isn't part of the pose, but sometimes people do it for stretch purposes, you can get a little bit more into the lateral, the outside part of the calf. So I'm going to sickle my foot, and I'm going to bend my knee, and then I'm going to take it across the body, and I'm going to drive my heel out and pull the straps at the same time. So that's a great way to get into these the peroneals and the lateral aspect of the calf. If you want to get the inside, then you're going to go out the other direction and actually push the arch out away from you and pull back. So 2 ways to use this boot. The cool thing about this thing is you can turn it around backwards, and you can use it to strengthen your, I'm pulling and pushing, you can use it to strengthen your anterior tibialis and your EDL. So those are a couple things that are really useful. If you don't have the boot, the stretching boot, he's got a little bit cheaper version now, I think called the DCT Proflex Lite. I'll leave these in the comments. The lateral hamstring stretch is going to help you, probably. But remember, if you're going to do lateral hamstring, you might want to do groin, because it's the balancing muscle, so you can do this one. And you might want to do medial hamstring, because oftentimes the medial hamstring just isn't, it's not being used as much because of the pattern of movement. You're relying way too much on the outer hamstring, the biceps femoris, and that's pretty natural to want to use that hamstring the most, but it's also going to kind of start turning your foot out a little bit, and then you're going to end up using the outer calves more. So think about the way you're moving, and sometimes when you're walking, think about pulling your belly in and keeping straight up and not like anteriorly tilting forward. And then as you're walking or running, you're going to drive through the center. Or sometimes I even have to think about driving through as I'm walking or backing up. I'm having to walk and then drive through the inner part of my heel, because I almost have to exaggerate it. I toe out so much that I have to exaggerate it, and just it's the whole leg, really. Let's see. Here's a yoga pose that I'd like to show you. that might be helpful as well. I'm going to come into a straddle and come down. This takes quite a bit of flexibility. I understand that. So if you're not able to, I'll give you another option. You could use a strap as well. I'm going to walk my hands towards my foot. And then I'm going to do the same thing. Remember what I said with the DCT Proflex? I sickled the foot. So my arch is going to draw upward, and the outside of my foot is going to push into the mat. And as I do that, I'm going to walk my hands over and pull my elbow down toward the mat. As I do that, see how my hips kind of shift a little bit? That's going to get into that entire lateral line. It's not a resistance stretch. I understand that. I'm not talking about resistance stretching today. I'm just talking about certain ways to relieve some pain and tension. Generally speaking, with those muscles, in the calf especially, you are going to want to release first and then do your stretching. What I found with them is sometimes stretching, especially resistance stretching, is just not enough. The lateral hamstring, one thing I used to do, I said I was going to demonstrate that with a kneeling position. Kneeling would be here. So if you want to use a strap, you can use a strap around your foot and then reach. And then again, sickle the foot, right? So your lateral hamstring stretch, you can do this on the couch. It's a great way to do it. Just sitting on the couch, grab the bottom of the foot. You're going to cross your hand over to the other side, kick the heel down toward the outer hip, and then take it across the body. And that should get into that area quite well, especially if you're tight in the calf. You'll get some hamstring as well, and maybe even some hip if you're that tight. Remember to rotate the other leg in for more stretch. Okay, that was kind of a lot. But it's something that I see with clients a lot and something that I've experienced myself, so I just wanted to touch on it a little bit. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them. And I will see you next time. Happy stretching. Bye-bye.